Man, F that. F that. F that. We lost the game, but Arsenal are still the champions of England. It's been a great season, but anyway, like I'm not going to talk about that, but I want to talk about the game. Well, I will talk about it a bit later, but I want to talk about the game. The Champions League final, PSG versus Arsenal. We lost. We lost on penalties. The game ended 1-1 and we went to penalties. We lost. PSG go back to back. And look, it was always going to be a tough game. PSG are now, I think how they won the Champions League last season was all-time awesome. And I think them going back to back now makes them an all-time great team. You have to just say, this is one of the best teams I've ever seen. I know, I'm not saying they are, the best teams I've ever seen in my life in the Champions League are Barcelona from 2008 to 2015. Real Madrid going 3 times back to back. AC Milan when they beat Barcelona 4-0 in the Champions League final. Those teams, right? Like Bayern Munich. Bayern, both times when they won the Champions League recently in 2013 and in 2020, both those teams are all-time great. And I'm not saying PSG is right up there, but if there's a tier below that, maybe, really close to the best teams of all time, PSG are right there. And it's an all-time great team, so it was always going to be a difficult game for Arsenal, and I'm not making any excuses. But I'm still okay with the season. We made the Champions League final, we won the Premier League. I'm still happy with Arsenal, and I think things are fine. Let's see how the transfer window goes, and I think next season, I'm looking forward to the start of next season again. I have to say that, I'm looking forward to it again. But yeah, PSG beat Arsenal. They won. And look, I think Arsenal played really well in the first half. And by that, I'm not saying offensively, but I think Arsenal had a really good plan to be solid, to not give anything cheap, to be defensively solid, and to go on the attack when they can, right? And to hurt PSG, because I don't think, as good as PSG are, I don't think they are invincible defensively. I think you can absolutely get at them. And Kai Havertz scored in the 5th minute. And I know there's a bit of controversy with the goal because, it might have hit Trossard's hand before it went into Kai Havertz's path. But I think, if we're just talking about footballing terms, I don't think that's a foul, and I think that was a fair goal. If you're saying Arsenal cheated to get that goal, I don't know, man. Trossard, I don't think he had his hand. He was trying to protect his face, I think. I'm just gonna assume he was trying to protect his face because the ball was in the air, really close to his face. And your natural instinct is to kind of try and protect your face. And it ricocheted off his body, and then it went into Kai Havertz's path, who had a really good finish. That was a really good finish because I don't think he had a lot of support. He had people running into the box. I think he had Odegaard coming into the box, but not fast enough to make a pass. And he decided there on the spot to take the shot and score. And I think, look, Kai Havertz is a little bit of a big game player. In terms when it comes to big games, finals, semi-finals, cup competitions, big league games, he does score and he plays well. He scored in the Champions League final for Chelsea. He scored in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup for Arsenal against Chelsea. He scored the goal that ultimately won Arsenal the league this season. And now he scored in the Champions League final against PSG. So he is building a little bit of a reputation for being a player for big moments, to score in big games, right? And I think in the game, I think Arsenal did well because PSG didn't have clear cut chances where you're like, okay, PSG should have scored that goal. Oh, that was a really good chance for PSG to score. They didn't blow Arsenal off the park. They didn't outplay Arsenal to a degree where you're like, like these are two teams in two different stratospheres. And I think Arsenal hung in there. They played well to be solid, to be compact, especially in the middle. And it forced PSG to use their wide men. But that became a lot of work for their wide men. You saw what they normally do. They switched players around. They switched. I many times I saw Due on the left. I saw Kvaratskhelia in the middle. A lot of for a huge majority of the game, I saw Dembele go to the left, to the right hand side of the pitch, and be a winger and try to create chances. And they tried a lot of those kind of tactics, right? But I think defensively, yesterday we kind of saw why Arsenal are the best defensive team in the world. Defensively, they are awesome. They are awesome. Gabriel was immense. Saliba was immense. And I know Mascara gave away a penalty, but he kind of did quiet down Kvaratskhelia. He did have a really good game against Kvaratskhelia. He gave away the penalty in the second half, I know, but Mascara played well. I think Hinkapie played well as well, to kind of nullify Due. Due was pretty quiet. I know he played the entire game, and he played in the overtime, but he was kind of quiet. A lot of the PSG offensive players were quiet, and a sign of that is in the second half, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia were taken off for Ramos and Barcola. You don't have a lot of games where PSG are playing a key game and Kvaratskhelia and Dembele are taken off the pitch. I think that kind of just shows you how Arsenal defended well and played against those guys. And it was a really good performance, I think. But I think in the second half, PSG kind of grew into the game and Arsenal were wearing out in a way. And they kind of got a bit more, their legs got a bit more heavier for players like Bukayo Saka. Not more so the defensive players, but more so the offensive players, because they had to do a lot of defensive work. I think Trossard played okay. I don't think he played a bad game. Bukayo Saka the same as well. They created chances where they could, and the chances that they could have gotten. And they did a lot of good defensive work. They supported their fullbacks. And I think in the end, PSG didn't create clear-cut chances where they could hurt Arsenal. And I think that was a big part of the game. You know what I'm saying? Because PSG normally create a lot of chances. They normally score a lot of goals, and they normally just put away teams. Last season, they scored 5 goals against Inter Milan, who were regarded as one of the best defensive teams in the world, right? They put 5 goals past Bayern Munich in the first leg, and they scored again at the Allianz Arena. So they scored 6 goals in 2 games against Bayern Munich, and they only scored 1. Now, the penalty, it is a penalty. I just saw it live, and I said that's a penalty. And Mascara had a really good game, but that moment, I think he shouldn't have dove in, because I think he had cover coming in to support him. And even so, you don't, and even though he had no cover, you don't want to be giving away a penalty, because that's an easier chance to give away than Kvaratskhelia actually cutting in, going into the box, trying to create or pass or score a goal himself. It would have been harder for him to continue the play. It would have been harder for Kvaratskhelia to continue the play pass or score himself than Mosquera fouling him and giving a penalty away. You know what I mean? So, look, Mosquera is 21 years old. He will grow, he will learn, and I think that was a big moment for him in the Champions League final. So Dembele puts away the penalty. I actually don't know. At this point, I'm kind of I think I'm leaning towards Dembele being left-footed, but I'm kind of confused now because he took the penalty with his right foot, and that's crazy in a Champions League final. If you're left-footed, like if I'm right-footed, I can use both feet, right? I can use both pegs, but if in a Champions League final and this is a penalty to equalize the game, I'm definitely going with my right. I'm not going with my left, and he went with his right. But anyway, that's how good Dembele is. He's a Ballon d'Or win, right? He puts away the penalty, and I think the game kind of carries on. I think after the penalty, I would have thought, I thought Arsenal would I was kind of fearful. I thought, okay, now this is the moment where PSG kind of kick on and they score another goal. But Arsenal held their own. Arsenal hung in there, they played well, they were defensively solid still. And even though we didn't create too many chances, I do think, because we did have a chance where Kai Havertz went in on goal, and he hit I think it was the defender who blocked it. I can't remember. I think it might have been the PSG captain Marquinhos, right? But overall, I'm massive. Don't get me wrong, I'm massively disappointed, especially after the performance that we had. I think that was a chance for Arsenal to win the game, because you don't have many, games where PSG perform like that. I don't think there are many games where PSG perform that poorly, where they don't create a lot of chances, where they struggle to score goals. But I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty okay. I know a lot of haters, Chelsea fans, Man United fans, especially big English teams, are very happy today. But Arsenal did well. I'm pretty fine. Tomorrow's gonna be the parade. I think Arsenal fans should enjoy that a lot. It's a big moment. Arsenal have won the Premier League, they're English champions. And I know this isn't about the Champions League, but as an Arsenal fan, for Arsenal, for the club, for Arsenal, right? It's huge. Winning the Premier League after 22 years is really big. It's not about the Champions League, but it's just a good season for Arsenal. And it's something that the fans should be proud of. And I think fans should be looking forward to the following season and seeing how things go. I think Arsenal have a really good chance of kicking on. I think Arsenal have a chance of winning the Premier League again. I think Arsenal have a good chance of winning the Champions League, because year on year, since Arteta has come in, Arsenal have done well. They've improved both in the Premier League and the Champions League. In the Premier League, 2 seasons finishing 8th, 5th, 3 seasons finishing 2nd, and now 1st. In the Champions League, we lost in the quarterfinals our first season when we were there. The season before this, the semi-finals, now in the final. So you can see the progression. You can see the improvements. You can see the progression from Arsenal. And I think that's something that we can build on and move forward. Arsenal should definitely be looking to bolster their attack. I think if offensively Arsenal had better offensive players, I know this was a good season, but it could have been better. There's so many improvements that Arsenal can still make. Even though this season was really good, Arsenal won the Premier League, got to the Champions League final. But you look at the team and you look at the season, you look at the performances, and you still say there's so many things that Arsenal can still improve. There's so many things that Arsenal can improve in. They can improve offensively. how they play, how they create chances. They can improve on the left hand side. They can improve the striker's position. And so let's see. Look, PSG are awesome. Let me talk about PSG a little bit. Like, PSG are awesome. I think PSG defensively are a little bit underrated, but they're good. Hakimi was back. Dembele was back. It's hard to get past the top 10 players in the world right now and not talk about Kvaratskhelia. He is a fantastic player. He is awesome. He is a trouble. He's a menace. They have Vitinha, they have Dembele, Doué. I thought Mendes played okay, but he had a little bit of not the entire game, but I think it wasn't an easy game for him against Saka and even Madueke. I saw a few times Saka getting past him. I saw Saka going down the byline, creating a chance. Unfortunately, no one was there. Madueke had a penalty incident against Mendes. He dribbled past Mendes, ran past him, and it wasn't a penalty. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, that was a penalty, they should have reviewed it. Or no, it wasn't a penalty. I think Madueke just fell too easily. I think he kind of flopped. But Mendes had a little bit of trouble with both those guys today. And I think PSG go down in history as one of the best teams, club teams of all time. And look, at this current moment, right? Like, the best teams, club teams I have are the 07-08 Man United, the triple winning, Champions League winning Real Madrid team, 16, 17, 2018 with Cristiano Ronaldo. I have the Bayern Munich team from the 2013 season, 2019-2020 season, that team. AC Milan, the Ruud Gullit, Frank Rijkaard, Michael van Basten, AC Milan that won the Champions League, that won the Serie A. They were awesome. I have those teams above PSG. But PSG, also, sorry, I forgot, before I mention PSG, you cannot mention the Barcelona teams from 2008 to 2015. Whenever we talk about those Barcelona, we just say the Barcelona teams. You know what we're talking about, those teams. That's the best club team of all time. And I don't think PSG is at that level yet. I know they've gone back to back. And even Barcelona, the greatest team that I've ever seen, never went back to back. But I don't think PSG are at that level. But I think PSG are just like a tier below. And the way they play, the kind of football they play offensively, they keep possession well, they create chances, they have beautiful players on the ball, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Doué. They're fantastic to watch. And congratulations to PSG, for going back to back, for winning the Champions League this season. Let's see how it goes next season. Let's see how Arsenal respond to this. I also think it could be a good thing that Arsenal lost, because if Arsenal won the Premier League and the Champions League this season, it's almost like there's less to look forward to next season. I'm not saying if Arsenal had won the Champions League there wouldn't be anything to look forward to. I think the season still goes on. We'd still want to defend our title. We'd still want to win the Champions League. But this kind of gives Arsenal some fire in the belly to go again. to win the Premier League, to prove people wrong. Because so many people are talking about Arsenal right now that they've lost the Champions League. And they weren't really talking when Arsenal won the Premier League. So I think that gives Arsenal... I saw Declan Rice's face after the Champions League, and he looked... Of course he was disappointed, but he kind of looked like he was looking forward to doing this again and trying to win the Champions League. And I think knowing Declan Rice, that's his next goal, to win the Champions League for Arsenal. So let's see how next season goes. I think that's going to give Arsenal some fire. To look forward to next season. Right. But anyway, let me know what you think. Absolutely disappointed. I can't say I feel good. Like I'm not gonna say I do feel bad. I'm disappointed, but I'm still proud of the team. I'm still happy about the season. It went well, and I'm looking forward to next season. So let's see how things go. Like, subscribe to the channel. Also, the World Cup is next. I'm definitely looking forward to the World Cup, and it's gonna be I just get so excited for the World Cup, and I'm so excited for this one as well. Ronaldo and Messi are back. So many storylines. Will France win the Premier League, the World Cup? They have such a great squad. Neymar is kind of injured. He's a doubt for Brazil. It's in America, the American story, the Canada story, the Mexican story. South Africa are in the World Cup. That's a story. It's a new format for the World Cup. How is it going to go? Spain are looking... I think Spain are one of the favorites, my opinion. It's Argentina and Spain, but we'll talk about that in the next video. It's World Cup here, it's World Cup fever, World Cup season. Anyway, like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, follow us everywhere, Instagram, Facebook. Let us know what you think. For now, have a nice weekend.